What's up guys, it's Scott here and welcome back to FudgeMuppet. With Skyrim back in all its magnificent and fantastical glory, we decided there would be no better way to celebrate this awesome game than by finding out what are the top 10 most fun weapons to take on your travels. Skyrim is a fantasy of epic proportions with wonders around every corner, and we've put every weapon in the game up to the satisfaction test to determine exactly which weapon reigns supreme as the most beautiful, the most gracious, and the zaniest method for causing uncontrolled carnage. Grab yourself a sweet roll and settle in for a wild ride. First up, coming in at number 10, we have the Ebony Blade. The Ebony Blade is a Daedric artifact belonging to the Daedric Prince of Seduction and Secrecy, Mephala. And yes, it is just as sinister and wicked as it sounds. The Ebony Blade is a two-handed sword with an appearance similar to the Akaviri Daikatana in Oblivion, except it is pitch black with intricate carvings and ominous patterns across the hilt, pommel, and base of the blade. It is the ultimate companion to any evil character and strikes fear into the hearts of men and monsters alike. Combine it with a full set of ebony armor and your aesthetic will be shadier than even the darkest neckbeard's basement. The unique and satisfying playstyle of this weapon comes from its enchantment. Each landed hit drains the life force of your foe, absorbing their health in the form of a crimson aura. And it's unlimited. No time spent slaving away at an enchanting table for this ebony executor. The terrifying side of this blade is only exacerbated by its undying thirst for blood. It attacks quickly for a two-handed sword, making it enchantment all the more effective. This blade begins with a humble 11 base damage and 10 absorb health, but by carrying out Mephala's will, indulging in the slaughter of certain targets, you can boost that up to 30 absorb health, making it one of the best two-handers in the whole game. Next up, at a pretty damn respectable 9th place, is the perfect choice for when the battle starts to heat up and you've got to keep a cool head. In case you missed those sick temperature puns, I'm talking about the one and only Chillrend. Chillrend is a unique glass sword which not only has a majestic ice blue colored blade, but also packs one hell of an enchantment. The enchantment dishes out a whopping 30 points of frost damage on top of the already respectable 15 base damage, and has a chance to paralyze enemies for 2 seconds, leaving them frozen on the floor long enough to guarantee you a pretty easy finish. Bearing down on an enemy who can do nothing but lie dormant and watch is pretty damn cold. With the augmented frost perk optimized, the potential frost damage can reach as high as 45 points. When drawn, Chillrend emits vapor from the blade and produces an ambient hissing sound. It convinces all the senses that this is more than just an up-jumped glass sword. In the icy tundras of Skyrim, it's hard to think of a more fun and fitting weapon for any melee combatant. Coming in at number 8 is a weapon that's pretty great. You'll be guaranteed to laugh when you whip out this staff, unleashing ancient dwarven machines to blow foes to smithereens. I'm referring to the ethereal staff, of course. This golden staff is encrusted with blue gemstones and looks incredible. The staff is the perfect addition to the arsenal of any mage, conjurer, or Dwemer fanatic. It allows you to summon a dwarven spider guardian or a dwarven sphere guardian to battle alongside you for 60 seconds. With this weapon, you can take the glorious mechanical creations of underground dwelling Dwemer with you wherever your travels take you. This staff makes it into the top 10 because of the undeniable visual and lore appeal of these epic creations. What better way to celebrate the innovations of this mysterious lost race? For the blacksmiths among you, there is even a chance the ethereal staff will summon Dwemer scrap metals in place of a guardian, making it a handy material dispenser. You just have to hope that effect doesn't happen in the thick of battle, but that certainly is part of the fun. Up next is a simple but extremely satisfying weapon for any keen archer. Coming in at number 7 is the unique dwarven bow Zephyr. Aside from its badass name, Zephyr has a very practical enchantment that can turn your everyday archer into Legolas. Zephyr's unique enchantment allows it to fire 30% faster than standard bows, and with a base damage of 14, it has the highest damage per second of any archery weapon in the game. It may not have the most extravagant of enchantments, but the ability to fire arrows rapidly when you're outnumbered by hordes of enemies is astoundingly rewarding. There's no weapon more suited to feeling like an agile, dexterous sharpshooter. In a battle of bows, the winner is the one who can knock, draw, and loose the fastest, and with Zephyr you'll be nailing them between the eyes quicker than anyone else in Tamriel. Number 6 on the list is the Bane of the Undead, the weapon of choice for those who favor light over dankness. This is Dawnbreaker, gifted by the Daedric Prince Meridia to the warrior she believes to be her champion. Dawnbreaker is a unique one-handed sword with a golden blade and a ball of glowing light radiating from the pommel. Dawnbreaker is a unique one-handed sword with a golden blade and a ball of glowing light radiating from the hilt. Its aesthetic is perfect perfect for the bright-colored, morally pure characters, and its style has almost divine connotations. Despite having a middle-grade base damage of 12, it is the perfect weapon in certain situations. When you're in the depths of an underground tomb swarmed by undead, Dawnbreaker lights the way, and its unique enchantment makes disposing of Draga simple. The blade burns for 10 to 15 points, and when battling the undead has a chance to cause a fiery explosion that kills or possibly turns nearby undead. If a Draga Deathlord gets the smug idea of releasing his low-level cronies on you, you can potentially take advantage of that, triggering an explosion and coating the walls with decayed limbs and guts. Realistically, it isn't the most powerful weapon choice, but purging ancient tombs of their dwellers, shining a light into the darkest depths of Skyrim brings with it some pretty epic and enjoyable imagery. In the number 5 spot is Mirak's sword. Taken from its namesake, the legendary dragon priest, Mirak, this weapon encapsulates the fear and unease Mirak would rouse in his adversaries. This is arguably the creepiest looking weapon in the entire game, and when it is drawn you can see these slimy green tentacles writhing around the blade. The tentacles will occasionally part to reveal a fiendish green eye as well. There is certainly a sense that this sword is sentient and unpredictable, but if you're not too intimidated to pick it up, this weapon is extremely entertaining. When you strike, the blade moves freely, expanding and flailing like a tentacle. While it is entirely cosmetic, there's nothing cosmetic about its base damage of 16 points, the highest base damage for any one-handed sword in the game. The enchantment provides 15 points of absorbed stamina, as the tentacles literally drain the energy from their prey. Charge runs out fast, but can easily be replenished with a petty or higher soul gem. At number 4, we have one of Tamriel's legendary artifacts, an Elven Longbow that was crafted during the Dawn era, and like its legendary status suggests, the bow has immense power, connecting it directly to Aetherius, the immortal plane. This is of course Auriel's bow. Auriel's bow has some mechanics that make it one of the most unique playing weapons. It genuinely feels like you are channeling the will of the gods each time you draw the bow, and each effect leads to some interesting varied outcomes. The bow has a base damage of 13 and deals 20 points of sun damage per hit, which is tripled against undead targets thanks to its enchantment. The most intriguing thing about this weapon though is what happens when using the sun-hallowed and blood-cursed elven arrows. With the former, each shot explodes with a sunburst effect when shot towards the sun. This results in beams of light raining down from the sky to smite all enemies in the area. As for the blood-cursed elven arrows, these cause a far more ominous effect. Firing at the sun will shroud the sun with a blood-red aura, dimming the sky and allowing vampires to venture freely for an entire in-game day. The environmental and lighting effects of this weapon make every battle that much more dramatic. Is the hype setting in yet? Well, it should be, because we're now onto the top 3. Taking the bronze, we have the Bloodskull Blade. This two-handed greatsword is barbaric and menacing in appearance. The blade is ribbed and has a daunting red tinge to it, as if it had been used to carve up so many victims that the blood has stained it permanently. It has a base damage of 21 and features a very special enchantment that gives it the potential to be both a ranged and melee weapon simultaneously. Power attacks with this blade emit a powerful blast of red energy which are capable of sending enemies hurtling away with immense force. You can swing normally for high damage up close or fire red death at those who are clever enough to steer clear of you. The blast effect has no recharge, so you can send enemies flying into rivers or off ledges until your heart is content. The Bloodskull Blade is not only terrifyingly badass visually, but it's also one of the most versatile, well-rounded two-handed swords available in the game. If you'd like to see more of this weapon in Skyrim Special Edition, take a look at our remastered Arcane Warrior build in the description. In second place, coming close to the grand prize, is Shear. This unique scimitar is arguably the most dominant and impossible to deal with weapon in all of Skyrim. At first glance, most people won't be able to tell the difference between the Shear and any old scimitar, but that mistake will be their undoing. The Shear has 11 base damage, and block bashing has 39% chance to paralyze opponents, but more importantly, this weapon has an insane stagger effect when used in regular combat, translating to a 100% chance to stagger any enemy with every hit. Yes, you heard that right. As soon as you land your first hit with this weapon, regardless of the opposition, they will be unable to recover, forcing them to stagger uncontrollably as you slice and dice them like tomatoes. If relentlessly carving up enemies like Christmas turkeys, watching them struggle and suffer is your cup of tea, then boy, this weapon will be fun for you. This weapon is anything but challenging, but for sheer fun alone, you cannot go wrong with the Shear. Finally, without any further ado, the most fun weapon in Skyrim is the Wabberjack. Everything about this wacky weapon screams of fun. From its name, to how you acquire it, to its appearance, all the way to its plethora of hilariously useful or detrimental effects. This mysterious, whimsical staff is a Daedric artifact belonging to the Prince of Madness, Shear, and it most certainly delivers exactly the way you would expect one of this eccentric's possessions to deliver. The staff is relatively plain and dark grey in colour, but the top of the staff shows the gaping mouth of Shear in 3 distinct moves. In practice, the staff has a huge variety of potential outcomes. If Shear is smiling down on you, it may cast a destructive spell to damage the target, disintegrate them, transform them into an animal or item, instant kill them, paralyze them, decapitate them, strip them, or turn them into cheese. That's only some of the positive outcomes. Contrarily, if your fortune isn't so good, it may heal them, reanimate their corpse, do nothing, or a bunch of other things. As you can tell, the Wabberjack works in mysterious ways, and while it may be the last weapon you would ever rely on in a life or death situation, there is no limit to the amount of hysterically humorous possibilities this item brings. If you like a surprise and play a particularly spontaneous or perhaps insane character, the Wabberjack is the best choice for the most fun experience. Well, there you have it, ladies and gents, the top 10 most fun weapons in Skyrim. If you have any stories from your adventures with any of these weapons, be sure to share it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into the weird side of Skyrim, be sure to give the video a like. As always, subscribe if you haven't already, and links to relevant videos and social media can be found just below in the description. I've been Scott, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.